Everyone. It is time for Forward Live, and this is the show, the podcast, where we talk about real solutions to real difficulties, real circumstances, situations, so that you can live your best life. And it's been a while since I've done this. Last Friday or last Sunday was Father's Day, and I just really didn't feel like doing anything. I just took the day off and kind of sat on my ass and enjoyed the day. But today, I want to talk about dealing with criticism and critiques and how critics fit into both. Because I've dealt with some stuff recently that has just been amazing. Excuse me. Because I've had to deal with people that when they realize they can't fuck with me in terms of my position or intellectually. And I'm not saying that I'm the smartest guy in the world. I'm not. I'm a smart guy. I'm really a smart motherfucker, and I know that. And sometimes that gets me into trouble. But when people realize they can't fuck with me on that level, they resort to ad hominem attacks. And people talk about everything from my weight to my hair to my beard to my hairline. I mean, personal stuff, right? And here's the thing, you can really get in your feelings about that. I choose not to, because here's the thing, people say, oh, well, you look raggedy with your beard. But, I present to, the Fortune 100 CEOs. People say, well, you're fat, you're overweight, right? But I'm 61 years old, and I can A, touch my toes. Matter of fact, I can touch the floor. And B, I can kick with both legs above my face at 61. Yeah, can I stand to lose some weight? Yeah, I could. But you know what though? I'm comfortable in my own skin. So honestly, I don't give a fuck. And I've said this before, that most people that try to attack me on social media, they can't fuck with my money and they can't whip my ass. So I don't really worry about it. But here's the thing. You may deal with the same things. And one of the things that I've learned is that people only attack people who are doing something or accomplishing something or have some attribute that others don't. So, excuse me. So when you're attacked, don't feel bad. Understand that this goes with the territory, because nobody fucks with anybody who's not doing anything. Excuse me. Why would anybody even bother with someone who's not doing anything? And understand this, that me, and this is where people kind of get into their feelings when dealing with me, because I tend to be pretty abrupt in how I deal with the subject matter I deal with. I don't sugarcoat things. I don't handle things with a lot of fluff or filler. I'm pretty direct. And what happens is that people begin to believe that I'm attacking them personally because they haven't divorced themselves from their ideology. See, here's the thing for me. I am an atheist. I am a socialist. These are attributes of mine. However, they are not me. So when you attack my positions, you attack my ideology, my philosophy, it's not a big deal, because I'm divorced from that. I mean, I embrace what I have confidence in, but this does not define me. And frankly, even my appearance doesn't define me. But that's another thing. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So when I go out and I say things about their politics, ideology, their philosophy, their theology. People get mad because they think that I'm attacking them. And I did a video about a month ago where it was a mea culpa. It was an apology. It was, basically my calling myself on the carpet, because I don't ever want to hurt anyone, much less harm anyone. But in some cases, you're going to say some things. If you're going to say anything that runs contrary to societal norms, runs contrary to theological norms, or runs contrary to philosophical or political norms, that you are going to invariably hurt someone's feelings. That's just the way it is. I don't intend to do it. That's not what I seek or set out to do, but that happens. But even in the case where I may do something that may hurt someone, I'm not doing anything to harm anyone. And that's a big difference. So go back and watch that video if you want to understand where my position is on that. So let's talk about criticism and critiques, because criticism is when someone is basically armchair quarterbacking you. They have no idea what it is that you do or how you do it, or they may even have an idea of how you do it. But what they're doing is that they're giving you feedback that's not intended to help you. It's not intended to edify you. It's not intended to encourage you. It's there to tear you down. That's what criticism does. When you criticize someone or something, you're basically speaking disparagingly about that person, place, or thing. And my take on criticism is, I don't take criticism. I don't accept criticism. I don't receive criticism. As a matter of fact, I outright reject all criticism toward me, because you are not qualified to criticize me, as I am not qualified to criticize you. And one of the things that I think is a problem is that the criticism, we inherit this. This is generational trauma that's handed on to us or handed off to us. And so we're criticized by parents, we're criticized by teachers, we're criticized by our neighbors, we're criticized by our employers. And so the first thing that we do is we pass this on. We criticize our children, we criticize our employees, we criticize our business partners, and basically what we do is we create a culture of destruction instead of a culture of construction, which leads me to critiques. Now, a critique I'll accept, right? Because I remember my English teacher in high school, Mrs. Morency, rest her soul. Mrs. Morency said to me, she said, if you are willing to put in the work to hone your craft, she told me, and this is in 1980, in my senior year in high school, she said, you will write the great American novel. Now, I haven't done that, but Ms. Morency was very keen on telling me what I was doing wrong, not to tear me down, but to build me up. And so because of Mrs. Morency, I have written a book. I've written one book by myself. I've written 2 books with my wife. I've contributed to several other books, and I've written tons of papers, white papers, position papers, newspaper columns, and so on and so forth. I've written a ton of stuff that's been widely published and disseminated. And so I owe Mrs. Morency a debt of gratitude, because she never tried to tear me down. She always tried to build me up. Every critique that she gave me was designed, engineered, and flowed from her heart to make me better. And that's what a critique does. A critique is edifying. A critique is constructive. See, people will say, well, you can't take constructive criticism. No, there is no such thing as constructive criticism. That's an oxymoron. If you're offering something that's constructive, you're giving them a critique. If you're tearing them down and under the guise of being nice, you're just tearing them down. You're exercise you're conducting an exercise in turd polishing, and it doesn't work. So what you want to do is you want to make your words, seasoned with grace, that you help people grow. Unless you're just a malicious, malevolent, narcissistic fuck that just likes to tear people down. In which case, you should just shut the fuck up. Honestly. But here's the thing, critics factor into both critiques and criticism. And you have to learn to discern between the critic that is offering you the critique and the critic that is offering you criticism. Because first of all, let me get this part off my chest from the beginning, that if you have a critic who basically all they're doing is telling you negative, all they're doing is telling you what you're doing wrong, all they're doing is trying to tear down what you're doing, that critic is offering criticism, and you could tell that critic essentially go fuck yourself, right? That is input, feedback that you don't need to accept. Because here's the thing, basically our nature as human beings is that we will internalize stuff. There's some people that are better at not internalizing than others, but we all internalize things at some point, at some level. So when someone is coming to you as a critic and they're bringing criticism, basically, watch this. This is what I do. I give people the benefit of the doubt. I've said this before, that I give everyone I meet 600 credit to start with, credit score. Right? And how you handle that 600 depends on whether you get more or less credit. If your score goes up, you get more credit. If your score goes down, you get less credit. And so I have some people who are friends. I've said this before, like Aaron Tomlinson and I've known Aaron Tomlinson for about 5 years now, but I consider he's probably my best friend right now, right? So time is not the issue, it's how you handle that credit score, right? How you handle your personal credit. So people who offer criticisms, immediately their score goes down. And once your score goes below a certain level, and that to me is a very personal, very subjective thing. Once it gets below a certain level, I cut you off. And at that point, I really don't have anything else to do with you. And I don't care whether you're family, friends, or whatever, I could know you forever, but at a certain point, I just won't fuck with you anymore, because there's nothing that you're going to contribute meaningful to my life, right? Critiques, on the other hand, I've had people that have said, hey, have you considered this? Would you try this? Would you think about this? Right? And they'll say, your message will be better if you do this, right? And so they give you a critique. And not only do they see, here's the thing about a critique. A critique is not just telling you what you're doing wrong, it's giving you some feedback as to what you can do better. And when we deal with others, we should always be ready with an edifying critique. But watch this. All of us are different. Me personally, and I'm just speaking about me, right? I have had issues with dealing with black people because I'm too light-skinned and I have light-colored eyes. And I have issues with white people because I'm not white enough, that my hair is a little too nappy or whatever. And for whatever reason, I have people in both ethnic strata that don't trust me based on nothing but my appearance. So you are going to have people that Basically, if you're blonde, there are going to be people that don't like you because you're blonde. If you have blue eyes, people are not going to like you because you have blue eyes. If you have brown eyes, people are not going to like you or trust you because you have brown eyes. If you're a tall person, if you're vertically challenged, if you're heavy, or if you're thin, you're going to have people who look at your appearance and then they're going to make some decisions about you based on your appearance. And what I'm saying to you is don't get in your feelings about that. Understand that when people go to your personal appearance, your personal attributes, anything that's personal, instead of going at your position or going at what your intellectual substance is, what you have to realize is that you have already won that fight. You have kicked this person's ass and they have nothing else, because now all they can do is go to your physical attributes. That's all they have. Because in whatever realm, whether it be, intellectually, whether it be athletically, whether it be aesthetically, or whatever, you've kicked their ass. And the proof of that is that the only thing that they could come back with is something personal. That's called an ad hominem attack, or attack on the person. It's what it means in Latin. So this is what I want to say, is that you're going to have critics. We all have critics. People that offer you critiques, welcome the critiques. Even the critiques that are harsh, that I won't say harsh, but let me walk that one back. Even the critiques that are difficult, that they're challenging, understand that a critique is intended to help you grow. This is someone who sees potential in you, or they like what you're doing, but there's something missing in their mind. And here's the thing, you don't have to employ or embrace every critique you get. Some critiques are not really well-founded. They're well-intended, but they're not well-founded. And in those cases, you have to have the discernment to say, okay, whether or not I need to embrace or employ that, add that to my repertoire, add that to my paradigm before you go forward. But criticism, on the other hand, you can outright reject. You, as a matter of fact, have the permission. Give yourself the permission to tell the people who criticize you to simply go fuck themselves. I'm serious. I mean, I'm not sugarcoating that. People say, "Oh, well, Derrick, you could be a little nicer." No, I'm not. I'm not. It's like, if you want to help me, great. If you want to help me be better, great. I'm down for that. I want to learn. I want to be better. But I'm not going to, listen, I live my life according to the yin and the yang, the yin being do no harm and the yang being take no shit. And that's the way you should be. You're not under any obligation to take any criticism from anyone for any reason. Basically, if you get criticism in your marriage and that's all you're getting, maybe it's time for a divorce, right? If you're getting criticism in your friendships or your other relationships, maybe it's time to find new friends or new relations. If you're getting criticism all the time on the job, maybe it's time to look for another job. It's time to move on. But if someone is giving you a critique and they're telling you, hey, this is something that maybe, have you considered this? You could do better here, or this will help you, or maybe, this, I tried this and it worked for me. Maybe you should give it a try. Here's the thing. These people, that they're trying to help you be better. And again, you don't have to take every critique. I mean, basically listen to the critique, but you have to make the decision whether or not this is something you want to employ, embrace, or otherwise add to your repertoire, your paradigm. Because if it doesn't work for you, don't accept it. Don't use it. If you look up here, actually, it's over this way. You see the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, that a book by Bruce Lee, and that's a book that has really helped me over the years, because what Bruce Lee taught in Jeet Kune Do is to basically embrace what works for you and reject that which doesn't. You should try to make yourself as complete and as whole as you possibly can, but there are things that you may not be able to do. For example, in mixed martial arts, for example, you have to be an efficient kicker, striker, and ground pounder, right? But you're going to have something in one of those three areas where you're better at something than the other. But in order to be competitive, you're going to have some expertise, some goodness at each one of those levels, right? But if you find that there's a particular punch that doesn't work for you, remove it from your repertoire. Why work on a punch that doesn't work for you? That's the point that I'm getting at. So I would love to hear your comments. How do you deal with criticism and critiques? I want to hear it. Put it in the comments or send it to me in the inbox. I would love to hear how you're dealing with criticism and critiques. And I also would like to know how you're dealing with critics. How do you deal with the people who are bringing you critiques or criticism? How do you handle that? I want to know, honestly. And one of the things that I will do is going forward, that when in future shows, I'm going to do a mailbag segment, what I get in the inbox, and I'll give you a shout out. And I'm also working on something now with maybe a sponsor, where I'll be able to give away some stuff at the end of every show. So make sure you're tuning in. Make sure you're telling other people about this. And if this helps you, please share it with someone. Share it with someone that they could be helped too, and tell a friend. And again, not for me, but because you say, hey, this is something that helped me, and maybe it would be an effective critique. So until the next time, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. May you be happy, may you be well, and may you be filled with peace.